time once again to slip into your camo, grab your bow, and join us out in the field for another episode of the Up North Journal, presented by PSE Archery. The Up North Journal crew is knocked and ready to rock for another exciting adventure. So let's step outside and hit the trail.
This episode of the Up North Journal podcast is brought to you by PSE Archery,
Spot Shooters Archery,
Easy Cut,
Packer Max,
Hunter's Blend Coffee,
Scent-Lok,
Scent Blocker,
Limb Walker Game Calls,
Buck Baits,
Gut Check,
Stanislawski Release Aids,
Copper John,
Fourth Arrow Camera Arms,
Wind Sense Vapor Hunting Products,
and Rebel 6 Rubs. And don't forget, you can catch us in syndication at 2 p.m. Eastern Time on goodtalkradio.com. Welcome back to another episode of the Up North Journal, everybody. Host Mike Adams sitting in the cabin tonight. You guys don't, on the podcast, can't see what Danny just did, but for those on the live stream,
there's a story behind it.
There's a long story behind that look right there.
Right there. You know, it's all in fun, though. We have fun while we're doing this live thing.
You know what happened is I give him an option tonight. When I was brewing the Hunter's Blend, I said, you want regular or high octane? So we're rocking tonight with black powder, high octane.
That might have been a mistake.
And he's jacked up worse than a Southerner on Mountain Dew.
That's pretty jacked up.
Mm-hmm.
Not going to lie.
Mm-hmm. But before we get started, Danny, tell the good people about Hunter's Blend.
You know what? Before we get started.
It's right there.
I know.
Okay. Go ahead.
Give me a second. Hey, everybody out there. Help our sponsors out that support us by, first of all, going to Hunter's Blend.
Right here.
There's HuntersBlendCoffee.com. That way you can get a 10% discount on your checkout by using the code, capital UNJ.
There you go.
And as Mike was pointing to it on the live cast, on
right
the
there.
podcast, capital UNJ. But don't stop there. Why don't you head on over to Buck's Baits, and if you want to get a 20% discount on checkout, use the code UpNorthJournal and go to buckbaits.com. You'll get 20% off there. And hey, why not go over to Rebel 6 Rubs? Been using that stuff. It tastes really good.
I used it yesterday.
Did you?
Oh, we did surf and turf.
Oh, there you go.
OMG is all I can say.
20% off on checkout using the code NorthJournal. And you still got time, folks, to get a call from JPO Game Calls. He'll give you 10% on your checkout up until November 15th using the code UpNorthJournal. So go over there, help support them. They support us. So
Help the people that help us.
Exactly.
And they, in turn, will help you by getting you some great products. So what's going on, Dan?
You know, Mondays can be so trying.
I don't want to talk about Mondays.
And stinky.
Oh, did I get a call or a text?
You got a text.
Monday morning. I forgot about that.
I tell you what.
You didn't.
No, I didn't.
Oh, this is good, folks. This is going to be a great story.
This is a good story, and it has to do with the use of the Oz machine.
By Scent-Lok.
By Scent-Lok.
The ozone generator.
Yes. So.
Danny needed to borrow mine.
Right. I get up typically at 4:15 every day.
Okay.
No big deal. The dogs are usually really good, and they're sometimes just about then.
Mm-hmm.
And Monday was no exception.
Okay.
Dogs are up. I switched it up. I went and let them out first before I showered. But anyways, I'm like, all right, let's go. Go downstairs, flip on the back light, and I let them out. And my dogs are barking, and I'm watching, and I see this little black dot wiggling away. I'm like,
kitty cat.
Woods
kitty.
And then I proceeded to open the door and scream, no! My one dog obeyed and turned right, except one dog didn't. And he bit down, and then all of a sudden I'm just screaming at this dog at 4:15 in the morning.
I bet your neighbors love that.
I didn't care. And I knew exactly what had happened because I shut the door and I watched Cooper. He came up and he's just freaking out with his mouth. And he's starting to roll on the back patio and he's trying to scrape his mouth. And I'm like, oh, this can't be good. He's starting to drool.
Uh-huh.
My other dog goes over and takes a sniff of him and proceeds to back up.
Yep.
Going, dude, you're on your own with this one.
You get yourself in this, you get yourself out of it.
So Cooper is now drooling. So I let him in, I grab him by his collar, and I take him right to my first small bathroom. And I shove him in there, and I shut the door. And I can start to smell it. And it's a skunk. And I'm like, oh, come on. I said, okay, been through this before. You just don't let them go running through the house. So
right.
I stopped that. I proceed then to get the other 2 dogs in the house. They're all happy. Woo!
We're not in trouble.
Yeah, we're not in trouble.
We could shred the house up and the carpet and the upholstery, and we wouldn't be in trouble.
That's right. and they knew it. So then I said, okay, it's now 4:20 a.m. I'm like,
Going to be late for work today.
So I grab Cooper, I take him upstairs to the bathroom, and I put him in the bathroom, and I shut the door. Now my daughter's up, and now Deb is up. And I said, what's the concoction to get the skunk smell out of a dog? Baking soda.
Dawn dish soap.
Dish soap.
Peroxide.
And peroxide. So we got him. So I went running through the house, got a bucket, made a nice pasty concoction.
The problem is getting the dog to eat that.
Well,
if it's in his mouth.
So I go into the bathroom with him, and now you can smell it. And he's just drooling. He's just drooling.
I bet.
I said, dude, you're in trouble, man. I said, and he gets up and goes right into the bathtub. I didn't even have to say a word.
He's like, please help me out. Please help
I'm
me.
like, all right. So I kick on the shower, and Erica's in there. I said, you got to hold him. And it basically all it was his mouth and snout, if it was anything. It was nothing else, which was great.
He must have had like
he grabbed
the business end of it.
Yes.
Oh man.
So
he took a direct shot.
Oh, I'm sure he did. So I mixed it up, and it was almost like pasty. Mm-hmm. And I just started everywhere on his snout, in his mouth. I was just like, and I sprayed him and did it again, and it reeked. I'm like, oh my gosh. So okay, I get him out of the tub, and I'm like, oh, this house smells. Ooh, does this house smell? I'm like, all right, I got to get to work. So Erica's now awake. She understands the situation. Deb's got to go to work.
You're like, take care of the dog. Bye.
Almost. I said, I think I got it all. It really wasn't that bad. It was smelling, but I could tell it wasn't as bad as last time. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, okay, grab the mat by the back door, throw it outside. Grab the mats in the bathroom, throw it outside. And it was like, oh. So I'm on my way to work, and I had a little time on my hands, and I'm like,
Mike ought to be up by now.
Mike will be up. So I text you and said, hey,
buddy old pal,
I need the eyes. So I had Erica come over and get it, and she started it and had it running pretty much all day. And actually, there was a couple rooms we had closed that we'd opened. It was like, ooh. Mm-hmm. So we had set it in there and closed the door, and we kind of walked through the house. We started at the top, went down, and it did a pretty good job. The only thing that it obviously, because when he drooled, it got into the carpet. Mm-hmm. So I had to. So basically, when I got home Monday early, I said I got to go home and take care of the skunk. I just, like I said, I got rid of all the carpeting out, the mats out, and then I washed the floor from basically where he came in and I just kind of followed him up. And using the Oz helped definitely. But yeah, that was Monday morning.
Yeah, when I bought this, my daughter, her and her husband had a sewage pipe break in their house and in their basement, and we got this over there, and within 2 or 3 hours, this thing had killed all the odor in the basement.
I tell you what, we took some towels down to the basement. Erica did, and I said, put it on the step to the basement.
Yeah,
that's what she did, and it took care of the basement pretty good.
Yeah,
it took it some while, but
yeah,
you just. Look how big this thing is, right?
Right, compared to a big space.
Exactly.
House.
So you just got to let it do its magic.
Yep.
And I tell you what, the smaller rooms, like about the size of the cabin, worked great.
Right.
I mean, put it in there, come back in an hour, open the door. It's like,
cool.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I finished up Saturday cleaning the carpeting up the stairs because that was the only spot I was like, man, I'm getting a little
hint.
And I was like, let me do this. So I think I got it. But
a little essence of Pepe.
You want to talk about way to start your Monday off?
Yeah, that's not good.
So I get to work, and the first thing I do to the guys is I apologize. I said, dudes, because we have a team meeting first thing.
This is why.
I said, dude, if you guys smell skunk, I'm sorry. It's me. Mm-hmm. And I was wearing a hoodie at the time. And Larry, a buddy of mine, goes, yeah, you kind of smell. I'm like, oh, do I really? He goes, yeah. So I pulled my hoodie forward, and I could smell it. And I'm like, oh, man, I smell like a skunk. So I didn't last. I lasted as long as I could at work. I did take care of some meetings and some business.
And then bailed.
But it was like, I got to go home.
Right.
But so I smelled like a skunk. I went to work. That's dedication.
Yeah, it's dedication.
I think it got out. I don't know where it got at me, but it was just. So that was my Monday morning. And I tell you what, I know how to do it now. Boom. Second time around was pretty easy.
Well, I'm going to be putting this thing to good use here probably tomorrow. If you remember, man, I don't know, was this a year ago? Year and a half ago? It's been a while.
Last year.
When our freezer got unplugged. I lost all my game
you lost
meat,
everything.
and we didn't know it for about a month and a half.
Right.
And somebody went down and went to get something and cracked it, and it was like, whoa, it smelled like death. Well, anyway, long story short, if you go back and find that episode and we talk about it, we got everything out of it and threw it all away, but we had like liquid in the bottom of the freezer. So,
absolutely. And I remember I just got here to do the show when Jacob, I think, found it.
Yep.
And we're like, oh.
So what we did is we actually plugged it back in and froze it.
Yep.
So it's like, that's better. I was like, I'm not going to mop this slop out of the bottom of this freezer and get it all over, the whole 9 yards. It's just like, we'll freeze it, we'll get it outside, we'll clean it. Well,
absolutely.
Kind of forgot about it and just let it run.
But it stayed frozen.
It stayed frozen. So this weekend, actually today, Jake and I pulled the freezer out, unplugged it. We actually wrapped it so it wouldn't come open. Didn't know what we were going to get into, Took it outside, tipped it, or unwrapped, we had that plastic wrap.
Right.
And we took that off and stood it up, and I opened it up, and I was like, wow, it's not bad at all. It had frozen blood in the bottom of it, but I was expecting to be knocked out.
Yeah, right.
From the smell.
You weren't.
No, I mean, I could barely smell anything.
Oh.
So I took the hose and sprayed it all out, got all the ice and everything out, cleaned it all out, got it all washed out, and took a bottle of Clorox and put a bunch of that in there and put some water in. And now it's just sitting outside. But what I'm going to do is after we scrub it down real good is I'm going to put the Oz inside, close the lid, and let it run.
There you go.
So this should take care of the smell.
And within that small confined space, that shouldn't take much time at all.
If I let that thing run through a couple cycles, it should pretty well take care of it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it should have no problem at all.
So hope to have some good things to report about the Oz unit. I'm telling you, it's this one is the last generation. They just come out with their new generation. They just came out with a new one
in July.
Yep. So if you guys get the opportunity, take a look at them at Scent-Lok.com.
Yep, exactly. And
look
I'll
up
tell you
Oz. Ozone. It's an ozone machine.
It's an ozone machine, and you can basically anywhere in the house. Mm-hmm. Musty, like you said, musty in the basement.
Yep.
A small room, like I had the office, my bedrooms.
Yep.
Or a bathroom. Worked there too. So
I'm contemplating taking my closet up at camp and converting that into like a scent-free closet. Where I can put this in, put my hunting clothes in, turn it on. When like when I come in from hunting, put them in, let it run for a cycle, so it regenerates and refreshes my my Scent-Lok.
I tell you what, you could hang this upside down.
Yeah, let it shower.
Just like this in the closet,
and let it shower.
And then when you go to recharge it, you just unbuckle it, right?
Yep.
Except you're not gonna be able to recharge it yet.
Yeah, you get the charger.
I've got the charger.
So,
but anyways, great little machine. Actually, my daughter says, "Hey, where did Mike get that?" I said, "Oh, we can get them. We can get them." She goes, "I think we should get one."
Yep, it's a great way to take care of your hunting clothes too.
And I put it in her closet. Matter of fact, her walk-in closet. She goes, "It smells." Threw it in there for a couple cycles, and no problem.
Hunting clothes. If you got kids that have like sports clothes like football, hockey gear, soccer, whatever. It's any of that kind of stuff. Pets. Don't put it enclosed in a pet cage with your pet. But you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Get musty pet smells.
Well, like a basement that's got cat litter.
Yeah.
You want to get that out of there?
All kinds of different.
There is so many. You used it in the trailer.
Yep, sure did. Yep.
You weren't in there, but you set it
when we fired that furnace for the first time and knocked down that new furnace smell in our camper. So, which is winterized, by the way. And before we go to break, I do want to say, if you guys buy a camper, a newer camper, and they want the place wants to winterize it for you and charge you a couple $200-300 for it,
call Mike and he'll do it for half the price.
Get a hold of me, because you bring it to me and I'll do it for half the price. Because I did mine and I did it with 2 bottles of RV antifreeze and it took me about 15 minutes. Easy peasy. So, all right, I'll tell you what. Let's take our first break. When we come back, we'll get into some more outdoorsy type stuff. So
absolutely,
we'll be right back after this.
PSE Archery has reinvented the way you buy bows.
From now on, you can make the most educated decision possible
by basing your bow choice specifically on your shooting needs and goals.
All you need to do is ask yourself, what kind of shooter am I? What do I want to achieve?
PSE will help find the right category for you.
So, what kind of shooter are you?
Find out at psearchery.com.
Welcome back, everybody. Second segment, but I just see Ken Cicluna has joined in with us watching it. Ken, we got to talk to you and see how you're hunting.
You got to report to us maybe next weekend, Ken. You'll be on the show if you're available, and give us an update how your saddle to ground event went.
Right. So, this weekend, I had plans to get outdoor activities done so I could get ready for hunting season, because next weekend, don't know if I'm going to be in Indiana or up at our camp here in Michigan. We got the elk hunt that's coming up here pretty soon. So I was thinking about elk hunting a little bit. I had it on my brain. It's like Saturday, I need to go to the range. I need to sight the rifle in, make sure I'm good out to 200 yards. So as I'm thinking about it this week, Jacob had to come home from college. He had a doctor's appointment at the ear specialist. He had a ruptured eardrum. And so we walk in the office, and they got magazines laying around. They do. So this is what I found laying on the table. Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation Bugle magazine. And I'm like, an elk magazine at the ear doctor. So I'm starting to thumb through it. There's a story in here.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, if you just didn't realize what happened, he still has the magazine. Was in the office.
There's a story behind that. There is a story behind that. So here's the first. Let me get to the first one. Because this is something, Danny, you and I have been talking about for quite a while now.
And do we talk?
Let me just get to the front page here. I should have had this marked. I apologize.
That's all right.
Now I'm fumbling.
The people are watching you fumble.
Fumble, yes, they are. They're watching me fumble. Let's see if I can.
While you're doing that, Ron Moses said something about two black bears, and a few dead bucks. And then Tammy said, "Hey, congratulations." And then Ron Moses says, "Hey, it's easy." He says, "I'll clarify."
Hit him with
roadkill.
Yeah.
And Buck Bates said the weather rocked. You are definitely right. And Tammy said it was great weather. Absolutely it was.
Okay, there's a story in here, and the title of it is "It's Hell to Get Old." But what it did is it was this encounter, this young gentleman who was conversing with his grandfather about elk hunting and was always looking forward to the day he could go with him and share the elk woods or share the story of his first elk.
Okay.
Long story short, Grandpa got sick, couldn't go, died. He killed his first elk. And then some people, the elk ran into some private land, and he had to ask a rancher for help to get the elk. If he could go look for it, and he found it. And anyway, they started sharing stories, and that's what the rancher said. It's hell to get old. Talked about his grandpa. But you and I, we've talked a lot in the last couple of weeks about getting out, sharing the outdoors with people, making sure you take a kid out, share it with your family, your friends, what have you, because you never know when your last hunt's going to be. That's kind of been on our minds a lot.
And that is so weird because
here's a story on it.
And I went and purchased a new vehicle yesterday because mine died. Mm-hmm. It's not a new vehicle; it's a used one. The finance guy that I was dealing with hunts in the Northwest 12.
Okay,
and he has a son, and his son was driving, which would be Grandpa, up north because Grandpa has cancer.
Oh, okay.
Too tired to make it up there, but the grandson will drive him to the camp, and then he was going to follow up. But right there again, you don't know when your last hunt's
You never know. You never know.
And he wants to be up there so bad. The grandson says, "Hey, I'll drive you to get you there."
Right. That's
so,
awesome.
Absolutely. So what do you got there in that story?
It's just I want to kind of bring that to attention because we've been talking about that.
Absolutely.
But the other thing that really caught my eye with this, and I was reading and didn't get all the way through, was a story or an interview with Shane Mahoney. And
Shane, yeah, you went and heard him speak.
Oh man, and then we had the Congressional Sportsmen's Foundation on, and that was one of the questions I asked: is who is your favorite conservationist? And obviously, living this guy here, it does it for me. And so I'm reading through. They call us into the room, and I take the magazine with me because I know we're going to sit there for a while, so I can finish reading.
Keep reading.
So I'm reading it, and the doctor walks in, and all of a sudden my dad calls. And I'm like, well, okay, I got to step out and take this call. So I'm in the hall and talk to my father and I hang up. About that time, everybody's starting to walk out. And I've got this in my hand. I said, Doc, I said, by any chance, are you the elk hunter here? And he looked at that and he goes, well, no, we don't take that magazine here. Somebody must have brought it in and left it. He goes, But, he said, that's pretty cool. He goes, why? Why do you ask? I said, well, I'm going on my first elk hunt, in December. And he goes, really? He goes, you want the magazine? Take it. I said, seriously? He goes, yeah. He said, it's not one of ours. He said, just go ahead and take it. He said, if there's something there you want to read, take it with you. So, and then the receptionist, she goes, okay, the only thing is, when you get back from your hunt, you got to bring pictures in because Jake's got to go back for a follow-up. She said, you got to bring pictures in.
There you
hear
go.
the story. So I got the magazine, and then I go to the rifle range yesterday, do some sighting in of the elk rifle.
Yep.
I'm taking my Browning 7mm rim mag. And I sighted that in with the Vortex scope at 100 yards because typically that's what we always do.
Michigan.
Yeah, Michigan, and run a 175 grain bullet. And I thought, well, I'm going to get back to 200 because I want to make sure I can take a longer shot if need be.
Yep.
And that's what my guide wanted. So I stopped at 200-yard range first, put it on the lead sled, took a shot. It was just a touch low, touch right. Made a couple quick adjustments, shot again. It was a little bit right, but pretty much my height. Well, I was about an inch high. I take that back. About an inch high, about an inch out. And I think that's pretty good. I think I 200 yards. I mean, we're talking the bullseye's this big around, size of a quarter, what I'm shooting at.
Right.
So I took another shot, and it was the opposite side, same height, opposite side, because 200 yards. My eyesight, the whole 9 yards. I'm like,
getting old.
If I can get that close on an elk,
you're good.
I'm good. And
That's
I took
right.
a third shot, and it was pretty much the same. So went down to the 100-yard range. I said, okay, I want to make sure what my holdover is at a closer distance. I want to see how high this thing's hitting.
Okay.
So I had it on the sled, took my shot. My windage was perfect. It was dead center, but I was about an inch and a half high. I'm like, okay, so now I know.
So you're an inch and a half for 200 yards.
I was
you're
about
an inch and a half high.
I was
at 100.
I was inch and a half high at 100. Yeah,
Yep.
And I was anywhere from 3/4 to an inch high at 200. So
There you go.
shoots pretty doggone flat.
Well, yeah, it's a 7mm, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and then I had two other rifles with me that I normally take deer hunting, and I wanted to get those sighted in for deer season. Plus, I also want them as a backup rifle, and that's I have a Savage 270 bolt action, and I have my semi-automatic 30-06 Remington Woodsmaster that I've killed nearly every deer I've shot with a rifle with.
Okay.
And my bear. So. And they're both just dead on.
So
the 30-06, I put two bullets doggone near in the same hole.
There you go.
And the other one was just off to the left, just by maybe a half inch.
So you were on the lead sled for those shootings. Mm-hmm. When you're up elk or you're up deer hunting, do you use a sticks or?
I'm gonna take stick with me.
Okay.
It's funny you asked that question because. After I got done shooting, brought everything home, got it unloaded and everything, kind of did some other stuff outside. But today, out of the blue, I get a call from my guide. Hey, what's going on? And we started talking, about what's going to happen, what to expect, what they're seeing now, yada, yada, yada. And, told him what I had done at the range. And he's like, oh, that's good. He goes, 30-06, he goes, most people, that's what they use. He goes, but you got a 7? That's good. 7mm? He says, yeah. He says, you ain't got no problem. 200 yards? Yeah. He said, our longest shot that we've ever had anybody kill one at was 191. He said, so he said, you'll be fine. Yeah. But he said, maybe in a blind, may not be. Might be in a pop-up blind. It might be stalking. We just don't know. We don't know what the weather's going to be at that time. He says, you got to be prepared for anything.
Everything and anything.
Yep. So yes, I'm going to take a pair of sticks with me.
Good deal. Yeah, yeah. It's funny when you're dealing with guides. For them to get to know you is very important.
He's known me for years.
Besides that, because short story, talking about a guide, my cousin was going bear hunting, and the guy kept asking him, do you know how to shoot? Do you know how to shoot? Do you know how to shoot? And he's like, yeah, just put me in front of a bear, and we'll
get it done.
Get it done. He's like, because he was in shorts and a T-shirt. But then again, it was 85 degrees, so I don't kind of blame him for being in shorts and a T-shirt.
Right.
Showing up to the guy and say, hey, where are you going to take me, right? Mm-hmm. It's 85 degrees. So, yeah, he just goes, just put a bear in front of me. Mm-hmm. So he got a bear. It didn't go far. And now the guide, knowing your shooting capabilities, will have no problems putting you at a good distance and knows that you can reach out and touch.
Yeah, but he said, most likely. He said you're probably going to be anywhere from 50 to 125 yards.
There you go.
So shouldn't be any issues at all.
No, not at all. Now, do you think? And I'm just going to throw this out there because you're using a 7mm. You think at 100 yards your bullet will slow up enough and mushroom enough in the animal?
He said it shouldn't be any issue.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I know if with a 7mm, if they're closer, you might run into an issue because the bullet just zips right through them.
Right. Well, that happened on a deer, that I shot, a doe I shot 3 years ago. Wasn't even thinking. It's the first time I ever took the rifle hunting, but I was hunting over a food plot that was 225 yards long. So I was like, I want to be able to shoot at the end of the field if need be. So doe comes in, stands there, broadside, 60 yards, 70 yards at the most, shot. She turned and ran off, and I'm like, what just happened? I know I did not miss that deer. There's no way I missed that deer. But the deer, it never even acted like it was hit. When there's snow on the ground, so I walked over, saw where there was 4 of them there. I saw where they were at, and they all took off and ran, to the right. No blood, no hair, no nothing. I'm like, oh, what happened? I'm trying to play it through my mind. I go, well, there's the tracks. Let me just follow the tracks. So I start walking. I walked 30 yards, drop blood. I'm like, okay.
A little better
here. And then I walked another 10, 15 yards, and then there was a stream of blood, and the deer was another 30, 40 yards up the 2-track.
Right.
And I rolled her over. Yeah, and that's exactly what happened. The bullet just zipped through. Didn't hit it. It hit something, but it didn't hit.
It just put the hole through.
Yeah, I
didn't have time to mushroom.
Yeah, I didn't see. I do heart shots or try to do a heart shot. I don't aim for the shoulder to break them down or anything like that. So
I thought I thought it was you. That's why I asked the question.
Yeah, that was me.
Yeah, I remember that because it's the first time.
But if we get up there and maybe we anticipate that the place we're going to be at is going to be a short distance, then I'll get the 30-06.
There you go.
I always try to take a backup gun or bow when I go. I know somebody. I had somebody say, "Well, I ain't got the luxury of doing that." I go, "Well," I said, "Fortunately, my deer rifle is my dad gave to me, so I didn't have to pay for that. But this was this 7mm is the one that I saved for and paid for, so I've got that luxury."
I think Josh and Dave. Josh ran into this problem, I think, in Africa.
Yes.
His crossbow got damaged.
Yep.
To the point where they were looking for another one.
Right. Yep.
So luckily they were able to do it, and things worked out. But just exactly for that reason, you're going up north. It's good to have something in case.
Let's say you're walking along and you're carrying it, and you got your barrel pointed towards the ground. You're just kind of carrying it, and all of a sudden you trip, stumble, and you shove the barrel in the mud and the dirt.
Yep.
And you don't have a cleaning kit. What are you going to do?
Shoot it.
Yeah, right. Exactly. So that's why I carry a secondary weapon.
Exactly. 2 things you got to take. Sometimes, for sure, a cleaning kit.
Yep.
And if you can, a secondary weapon, because you don't know what will happen to that first weapon.
Yeah. Well, you could get knocked over in the room, or in the scope could get bumped. I mean, there's a myriad of things that could happen. So you need to be prepared if you can.
Once it gets out of that case, a bunch of things can happen.
Exactly.
So absolutely, but I'm glad you were able to get out, do some shooting. You're sighted in. You're ready to go.
I'll tell you what. Let's take a break. Come back. I want to kind of run through a couple of little things that we talked about with the guide.
Oh, absolutely.
So, all right, we're going to step outside. We're going to take our next break. We'll be right back after this.
PSE Archery has always dominated the speed category. Now, the most revolutionary cam system ever to hit the market has perfected the shooting experience. Introducing PSE's Evolve Cam System, featuring extremely high let-off capabilities and the smoothest draw cycle in history. No other cam system has ever delivered this level of total comfort and total control. Experience PSE. Experience performance.
Welcome back. Third segment of the show, talking elk hunting, and I'm out of Hunter's One Coffee.
I had my 1 cup, and I'm good to go.
You sure you don't want some more black powder?
No, I have to get to sleep when I get home because, like I said, 4:15 comes early.
Right. So, yeah, my guy called, and like I said before we went to break, and we talked a little bit and talked about, kind of the coming up and what they're seeing. They're seeing elk. They've got it for 2 people. They took a bull and a cow in the early season.
Excellent.
So they had 2 people, and they were successful. They're seeing elk now, and he's like, but you know how that goes. Just because you see them now doesn't mean that's where they're going to be in December. So, I understand. So we talked about that a little bit and told him I'd been to the range and, where I was at with that. And then we, took care of business, hung up the phone, and about a half hour later, his dad calls. The older gentleman, Remember when I was up there and I called and I was trying to figure out where to go when I was up in the Elk Woods? I wanted to figure out where the hotel was. And by the time I got the directions from the son and I drove 3 miles down to where the hotel was, or the cabins, within 5 minutes of me being there, here comes the dad. He called and told him I was in town, and so he drove up and see me. So he found out that he was talking to me, so he called me. And, we're talking back and forth, and I hear all these different stories and things and what to expect and how it's going to all roll out. And, it's like I read that story or made reference to the story of the young man and his grandpa and everything, and we've talked about this a lot, He said, his birthday is tomorrow. He's going to be 85.
85?
Yeah. And, he said something to the fact that he's like, well, he said, you never know. He says, I may not be here when you get here. He said, I just want to talk to you and kind of prepare you before you got up here. He goes, you never know what's going to happen. I said, man, you never know. I said, something may happen to me. I said, well, there's no guarantees about nothing.
There is no guarantees.
But once again, this theme came up again about, makes you think about the last, you never know when your last hunt's going to be. You never, ever know.
Let's just step back a month, our last picture with Jim.
Exactly. Step back a month from that and that near-death experience I had in the car.
You're right.
There's
so many. There's no guarantees, right?
No, there's no guarantees.
Exactly, and that's the thing. And so when somebody talks like that, it's like, really?
Yeah. Well, I guess the reason that we kind of got on that subject was a person we both know that used to be in the construction industry, house building industry, because we were in that with this our guide years ago. And the guy that we knew commonly passed away about 10 days ago. So, we were talking about that, and, you start thinking about those things, and it's like, you never know.
Well, you kind of put it into never know. You start hearing lately, we've had a couple singers passing away.
Yeah.
You probably grew up listening to and stuff like that, and it's like,
yeah.
Uh-oh. And then I just heard Mike Ditka turned 80.
Yeah, right.
Oh, right? He's like, wow.
Out of all the guys that we hunted with throughout the years on public land here in Michigan, there was a group of about 15 to 20. They weren't all together at all the time.
Okay.
But during deer season, you knew you were going to see these guys and their families at our little parking area and camping area on state grounds.
Right.
And out of all these people, my and my elk guide are the last guys standing.
The last two of the older, which would be the older
generation,
the first generation that started it.
Yeah, like me and some of the other guys.
Well, you're the kids.
Yeah, we're the kids of those groups. So,
no, absolutely, totally get that, and really, truthfully, that's how we see it at our camp, our bow camp, deer camp. It's like none of our uncles come up with us anymore. So now it's the kids,
right,
and our kids.
Yeah.
So you can see the trickle down. But like you said, you never know when that last hunt's going to be. And it just, when you start subtracting people out of the picture, it's just like, whoa.
Well, at our camp here in Michigan, my dad, when he joined the club, of all the people that were members then, there's only one person left that was a member when my dad joined.
Oh, okay.
Only one left.
Yeah, see,
I'm number 4 in line now of the oldest tenure there, and my dad passed that membership on to me 4 years ago, 4 years ago, and I'm number 4.
Yeah,
it's I don't know. I guess what we're trying to say is, like we said, take the time, make sure you make memories while you can. I know work gets in the way and school gets in the way and all that, but man, just take that time when you can.
Absolutely. Going back to what we talked about, carrying another weapon with you.
Yeah.
Charles Byram, his duck camp in Cali was 3 hours from his house. And he learned the hard way at a young age to always bring a backup weapon.
Yeah.
Must be a good story there when you're 3 hours away and you don't have a backup weapon. And Tim Cius is joining us, and Ron Gerchow.
Hey, Tim, how's it going, my friend?
How's that back doing? Hopefully it's getting better.
Absolutely. So,
but you just take time to make the memories. As small as the memory might seem, it's still a memory.
Exactly, and it could be something big for that other person.
And it could
people.
It could be small today.
Yeah.
But in 5, 10, 15 years, it'll be a big memory.
Yeah.
Because that might be the only memory.
Well, it's always those little quirky, funny little things that you remember,
Right?
Go back to those days when I was a kid and was hunting up there on state land. Actually, I was talking with the son, the guy, the first call I got today, and he's about 5 to 7 years older than I am. And we were talking about weather. He's like, you need to be prepared. Make sure you got warm boots and you got good clothing to wear that you can layer up in. I said, I got all that. I said, I can sit out all day unless it's 0 or 20 below. I said, I can usually last all day. I said, besides that, and his name's Mike as well. And I said, Mike, you know doggone good and well. I said, we grew up the hard way. I said, when we were kids and we went with our dads or when we started hunting by ourselves, I said, what did we do? You put on an old pair of gloves that were way too big for you, that weren't warm, the biggest jacket you could get, to try to roll up in, and you put long johns on and blue jeans because that's all we had back then, and a pair of felt-lined boots.
Yep.
And you go up and you deer hunt, and your dad would kick the snow out from around a tree, give you a can of Sterno, and put it on the ground and say, okay, sit here, I'll be back at dark to get you, and you'd light Sterno, and that's how you warm your hands. And you'd have a can of Vienna sausages and a sleeve of crackers, and that's what you had, man. And you'd freeze to death. But you know what? Those were good times. And I said, if I could survive that, I could think I can survive up there.
Right? Well, that's the thing.
We've got soft over the years.
Oh,
That's how I grew up hunting.
Well, my dads and uncles used to drive up to Mackinac to get in line to get in the ferry.
Yeah, to take the ferry across because there's no bridge.
And they were they made sure to get there pretty early because it was easily a 2, 3, 6, 8 hour wait.
Right, you didn't know.
It's like, okay, here we go, wait. Yeah. So hurry up and wait.
But those were the days, man. And we got the camper now, but I mean, back in the day, we had no campers. We had a canvas tent, and you get those wet, heavy snows. You put a Coleman lantern in the middle, and you sleep on a cot to keep you up off the floor so you didn't get wet because water would be running through the tent. And heaven forbid if you reached up and you touched the roof, because then the water came through and caused a leak.
Yep. Absolutely. I want to give a shout out to Mike Country Boy Kokis. He's joining us from Pinckney, Michigan.
Hey, Mike, thanks for tuning in tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. And Tim Cias says the back is getting better.
Good for you, Tim.
Yeah.
Glad to hear that.
But you're right. You don't want to be that guy that did that, by the way.
I was that guy a couple times.
Oh, you were.
Yeah. It's like, I see a little spot there. And first time, you're like, what that is? And then bank, and then here comes the rain.
Yeah, exactly.
And just as you get ready to touch it, don't touch it.
Too right?
Late.
Too late.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the thing. Those all are memories. And that's what we're kind of, it's one of those things as we get older, that's what happens.
Yeah.
When we're younger, you think you're invincible, right?
10 feet tall and bulletproof.
Absolutely.
I thought my grandpa was going to live forever, man.
You always think that. You never know. And you just look at that, and people we meet, people we say hi to, whether we're going to different shows or wherever we're at, you just hope you see them another
time.
And especially like ATA,
Yeah.
We'll see a couple of those. That's the only time we see them.
Yeah.
It's like,
well, just like, that last picture we took with Jim that night after the leagues were over with. We had no idea that was going to be the last time. Wasn't the last time I seen him. That's the last picture we had.
That was the last picture we took him, and that was the last,
I seen him earlier that week, or later that week, right before he passed. And, we don't mean to be morbid, but it's just like, just take that time and enjoy the time you got outdoors. Because I'll tell you right now, man, it's just beautiful.
It is beautiful out there. And Mike from Pinckney wants to know how our hunting is going for us, guys.
Actually, I was up 2 weekends ago and took a crack at a big mainframe 8-point, and I've now nicknamed him the Matrix Deer. Because when I launched the arrow, it was the best.
Okay, I'll go with that.
Yeah, he pulled the Matrix. He did everything but flip over. He jumped.
He jumped, went back.
He literally jumped.
Took and moved his shoulders as the arrow went through.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So I've been out once, but hopefully this weekend I don't know yet exactly what direction I'm headed yet. If I'm heading south or north. Right.
Exactly. And I was up at bow camp in the UP 2 weeks ago. The only thing I got was a dead truck. We've seen a ton of deer. It is so encouraging what we're seeing. I was looking for an 8 or better. We have APRs that I was hunting, so it was 6 or better. I did have a crack at a 6, but I let him go in hopes. You never know. You got to start
to next year.
You got to start somewhere, right?
Yeah. It's hard to do that. I mean, talking. I don't try to tell people what they have to do, but I mean, at our camp now. we've got rules in place, and that's we go by APRs and age classes what we're hunting. But
and you're right, because Gabby was texting me about the 7-point. She goes, "What do I do? What do I do?" I said, "It's your call."
Yeah,
and she let it go.
Yeah.
So hopefully we both let 2 deer walk. Hopefully it comes back, whether it be November or next year, something So, but that's what we. That's where we're at for bow season. We're going to be coming into, like Dan Anderson says here, he's ready for the most magical time in the deer woods.
It's coming.
It is.
Right around Halloween. I've got that week off, man.
I
cannot wait.
Right? It's coming. So I'm starting to hear things. Things are picking up. Some people have gotten beautiful deer.
Yep.
Watching the page over on Let 'Em Go, Let 'Em Grow, and other pages we get, but there's some beautiful creatures out there coming.
Scott Bass from Easy Cut shot a tremendous buck this weekend. I just saw it posted over on their page. Yeah, beautiful buck.
Nice.
So
that's where we're at with our hunting. Ken Cicluna, the third wheel here, he is. We'll have him on next week, I hope, to give his report. We gave our report
couple weeks
last
week. Was it last week? I think it was last week.
And we'll have him on. He's trying saddle hunting for the first time. He's run into some issues where he thought he was going to go up a tree, but there was deer in the field, so he didn't bother. And then he got busted. But we'll let him tell that story about it. But yeah, he's still chasing them in southern Michigan.
Absolutely. So it's a great time to be out. But I tell you what, let's take our last break. And for you bow hunters, I got something here I want to show you guys that I've used.
And Ron Gerchow, he says he almost missed us. He's packing for a trip up north this coming week.
Okay.
And then he's going to be off to Iowa in November.
Congrats, man. Iowa. That's where the big boys live.
I talked with somebody, and that exact discussion came up.
Okay.
When you talk to deer hunters, and this is the deer hunting thing.
Yep.
You name Iowa,
Illinois,
Kansas, Illinois,
Missouri,
Ohio.
Yeah.
That's where I want to go. I want to go shoot big, but I want to go there and shoot decent deer.
Yeah.
Michigan could have that.
Oh, don't get me fired up.
I'm not.
Don't get me fired up.
It got me fired up because I didn't say nothing, and he told me exactly what I wanted to hear. I want Michigan to become the destination state.
It could be with the right management.
Thank you.
It can be. We have the genetics here. We've got the food resources here. The mindsets need to change.
And you're right, Adam Wynn. It does seem like a good year for Michigan bucks that are going down. Unfortunately, I saw 4 of them get wiped out on I-75.
Yeah. I seen 2 red fox on 23. They were a quarter mile apart. I was traveling northbound. One was on the right shoulder, and then a quarter mile up the road, one was on the left shoulder. 2 red fox. I'm like, same den. I don't know. I don't know how far they travel apart, or did the one get hit and the other one take off and ran up the road and got hit later? I don't know.
And I see Kreiner. He's out whacking yotes.
Yep.
And a few other people have whacked. The gentleman down in Ohio, he was out deer hunting, and I think he whacked a yote too.
So I'll tell you what, let's step outside. We'll take our last break here. We come back. I got something here I want to show the bow hunters that I actually used in the tree stand that I thought was pretty cool. So we're going to step outside. We'll be right back after this.
Acceleration is part of PSE's DNA. PSE pioneered the speed movement. Now they've developed the vapor category to help you find the most powerful bows on the market to fit you.
High speed equates to intense power and building the momentum you need to be successful. Are you a vapor shooter? Find out at psearchery.com.
Welcome back. Last segment of the show. So before we went to break, talked a little bit about this. Danny has not seen this. Actually, he saw the pack and he's like, "What's in there?" And I said, "I'll show you."
Yeah, and I didn't open it, so I don't know.
It
still has a tag on it.
Yeah, it does. You may or may not remember last year at ATA, David Boggs took us over to maybe you weren't with me at that specific time, to a booth and wanted to show me this system for putting things into your tree stand or in your area for hanging a backpack, a camera, a bow, lanyards,
I think I remember it.
Whatever. And this is the kit. He actually, David Boggs, thank you, buddy, because he got one for me and said, "Here, happy birthday early." So this kit I took with me, and
Oh, yeah, I remember this now. Because the gentleman had it in front of us.
Yeah, it unrolls, and you're like, oh, there doesn't look like a whole lot in there. But it's the system is really cool the way it works. If I can get it out of here. Gotta be careful I don't stick this thing in my finger. Okay, and I want this. I think this is the one I want.
This is called...
No, it's this one.
The Morph Pro. Am I reading that right? Morph Pro?
Yep. And what I did is I put these 3 items in my backpack. And it's like, okay, that's not very big. I took these in my backpack. And I don't know if you can see that on the camera here. But this is basically like a screw on the end with a washer. And on this side, this is the part that would fit into a screwdriver. Like a hex bit.
It's a hex. Yep.
So if you can see that. So what this does is on this end of this arm, it's got a receiver and it's got a hex bit on that end. Okay, so you pull it back, you snap it in, and you're like.
So basically, that works exactly like a driver.
Yeah, but you're like, what do I do?
A speed chuck.
Yeah, but what do I do with this?
All right, what do you do with it?
Well, what you do is you turn it like this, bam, slam it in the tree where you want it, and then you use this to turn it and put it in the tree.
Okay.
So this is your driver. You can screw it right into the tree, and then once you get it in the tree, you put the handle however you want it, and then this piece here has the same receiver on the other end, and it also has this hex bit. It's a hex bit system. The whole thing is clicks in. Now I've got three
individual hooks,
3 hangers, and you can hang whatever you want on there. Turn it however which way you want, and this is what I use for my bow hanger.
There you go.
It works
and at the end of the night, if you want, you could actually leave the stud in the tree.
Yep, because it comes with 6.
Okay, it comes with 6. Okay.
So you can set up 6 stands.
Right, exactly.
And all you take is the arm with you, and you're ready to rock. It's got another arm. It's got another hook on the end. It's got another extension. There's a couple different things here for cameras. But yeah, it's pretty cool. You know, here's another arm you can use just for a hanger, and this one here. Let me get this one out. Has got another stud off the side, so if you want this one to come off it, I mean, you can put this together in 18 different configurations.
It is like a set of Tinker Toys.
It is. Yep. Let me get this so it's parallel. There we go. So I could kick that off to the side, you know, and I could take this one and put this on the other end, like so. I mean, you can see that there's just so many different configurations that you can do this.
Absolutely.
So actually, I got that upside down, but
whenever,
you get the idea.
Whatever your mind can come up with,
yeah,
you probably can do it.
Yeah, it's really cool. So,
cool. The Morph Pro.
Yeah.
It's called the Morph Pro Bow Hanger System. I remember them.
Yep. So
yeah, they were at ATA.
I thought it was pretty cool and fairly lightweight. I mean, like I say, you just take the pieces you need, throw them in your backpack. You don't have to take this whole pack with you, and away you go.
And they are under the Outright Hunting product. That's what they're found.
This is the way you can just store it and actually take it back, store it all.
And what's nice is at the end of the hunt, you can roll this up,
put it away,
and remember to put it away so you're not looking for pieces next year.
Right. So, but yeah,
cool.
I just thought it was cool. I thought it was a system that I checked it out and used it this last trip, and I was quite pleased with it. So check it out if you get a chance.
David Boggs is a nice guy.
OutrightHunt.com.
Yep.
Is where you can find them at. So
there you go.
Yeah.
Like you said, 6 bits.
Yep.
Couple extra arms.
Yep.
Hangers.
Yep.
And it all folds up nice and neatly.
Yep.
Into a pack that big.
Yep.
Not a bad deal.
So if it's something you want to check out, I think there's a couple different styles of kits you can get too, if I remember right. You can buy extra accessories or what have you. So. But yeah, I thought it was pretty cool.
Absolutely. That is pretty cool. Well, you got to use it, and that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Because we see it at ATA, and it's kind of like, okay, you're showing me a demo here. But
yeah,
when you field test it and take it out there and it works for you, then you know it's like, that'll work.
Well, what I really liked about it is, like, I found the limb I wanted to put it on. I'm like, okay, I needed about this height, so I got the system put together, and I'm like, okay. So I hung my bow on it, and I'm like, okay, well, that's over this way too far, because I had my camera arm. I was running my camera as well, and I'm like, okay, I had to move it and kind of get it in that sweet spot.
Right.
And I kept, fiddling with the hooks and moving them and moving the arm, and eventually got it perfect where I could run the camera and then just reach up and grab the bow. I mean, it's adjustability right there after you put it up. So that to me is what I liked.
Absolutely. Adjustability. It's not a one-trick pony.
No.
And that's very. Not every tree is straight. It has two limbs that come off this way, and it's perfect at every time.
Right.
No, it doesn't.
Right.
Doesn't have.
And I apologize for everybody on the podcast that couldn't see that. So you need to watch the live stream so you can actually see what I was talking about.
Right. Exactly.
Or go to that website that I just said.
Adam Wynn. He wants to know if you think that buck will come back after you've shot at him.
Yes, because you didn't listen to the episode last week. And the reason I think so is because I drew no blood. I drew no hair. It never, when he jumped and pushed off the ground, he elevated himself. I wish the camera was he walked out of the frame of the camera. And at that point, I was just concentrating on the deer. I did not turn the camera to him. But I watched the arrow go underneath him maybe an inch or two at the most.
And Adam, you got to watch last week's show about this because we started, Charles Byram, who's on, brought up a point about the broadhead that Mike was using. And it's kind of like, I didn't know about it. I don't think Mike knew about it. And so it was like, So
something we're going to look into next year.
Yeah, something we're going to look into next year. We kind of already started.
We've talked about fletchings. We've talked about broadheads, making noise.
Exactly. When we were up at the archery challenge with Dan Yassa and Chris Schnur, we were on the practice field. And that's exactly the question I asked those guys. Because now you understand they're on the practice field. They're shooting up to 110 yards. Mm-hmm. And you can hear different things. Now, they're all using field points. But you can hear different things. I said, what's making that noise? And at the time, they were down to fletching, knock, and stuff like that. So the Montex that we're using, according to Charles Byram, makes a noise. So we kind of want to maybe prove that point next year.
Well, he said once you get out to about 30 yards and beyond, they start making a whistling noise. Yeah, and my shot was 44 yards. And that was the other thing. Is like I was a pin gap shot, and I was like, do I hold high on it because of the way the position I was in when I shot? Had I held high on him, I more likely would have killed that buck. But I was afraid it would drop because most of the time when you take a shot at a deer, if they hear it, they'll drop. They'll actually.
Well, that was. And
I thought it'd go right over his back.
Right, but
instead he
as
elevated.
You now affectionately call him the Matrix deer.
Yeah.
But okay, so
and actually he stood there and he looked around. He like what was that?
He just had something whistle by.
Yeah, and he flicked his tail. He flicked his tail. And he almost started to feed again. And he started to put his head down and was like, oh, nah. And he looked around a little more and it's like, no. Something just, you could tell something wasn't, he didn't think something was right. And he turned and he fed away off the food plot. But he never made me. He never knew where I was at, didn't know where the shot came from. So.
And that's the thing. And according to Adam, he missed an 8 on Friday and missed completely. So he's thanking you for the reassurance.
Yeah.
And it might take him a few days to come back around.
Let me give you another piece of advice. Danny, if you can you look on top right over there to see if I have any of those discs on top of the printer? When the other thing I was like, okay, did I graze him? Did I draw blood? Because that was the other concern I had. Because at our camp, you draw blood right underneath that stack right there, Dan. Is if you draw blood, that counts as a deer. Okay, so my main concern was I did not want to have to count that as my deer. So I got down, I went over, and actually where he was standing when he lifted, when he elevated, I could see where he pushed off. There was 4 huge indentions in the ground, hoof prints. And he when he raised up, and I thought maybe I misranged it. So what I did is I turned back to the stand, I rearranged it 44 yards. I was dead on with that. So I turned to look behind me, and sticking in the ground at the angle was the arrow. And I've got hang on.
And never use your teeth to open things, as Mom and Dad always yelled at you.
These are gut check indicators, okay? And what's in here is little discs, and you wipe your arrow after the shot, and it will actually give you an indication if you have blood, if you've got good blood, or if you've got a gut shot. So these it'll turn a color. And when I had these with me, I got down, got my arrow, and I wiped my arrow shaft with one of these and had nothing on it. Absolutely nothing. So I carry these in my pack, and actually Danny uses the wraps.
I got the wraps, and I got these just in case. Before your arrow, the disc is completely yellow, and if you wipe it and there's just strictly blood, it stays the blood color. But if it gets a gut shot, it turns the yellow into like a nasty looking green.
You're right.
So
if I could get into my pack, which I'm not going to do right now, it's off camera over there. But
right
in my pocket of my jacket, I've got the one that I used.
We got these up at camp, and we're using them on our use them for bow camp on our arrows, and we had these just in case.
And I'm going to take these on my elk hunt in case, heaven forbid, I have to track and I want to see what kind of blood I got. Rifle season or muzzleloader season, I'll also have these with me. If you've got blood on the ground, you take the disc and you dab it and wipe the blood on the disc from the ground, and you can actually tell what kind of blood you've got as well.
Yep,
so,
exactly.
Gut check.
Check them out. We got them. We're using them this year. Be dead sure.
Yep. So if you didn't draw blood on them, you didn't graze them, I don't see any reason why that deer will not hang around in the area. It's better to have a clean miss than a grazed miss and wound him. You wound a deer, different story. He's probably not going to come back.
That's right.
So
there you go. But yep, he should be around, and most likely when that rut kicks in, he'll be back.
He's going to have one thing on his mind.
He won't care.
So, but yeah, we're bumping up here towards the end of the show.
Yeah, towards the end. And Ron Gertschow says again, remember Veterans Broadheads. And I'm going to check them out, Ron. I'm going to see. I've read about them. I've looked at them. So we're going to give them a look-see. And we kind of talked about some ideas for next summer. Maybe doing something to that effect of noise and arrows.
Yeah, because I got the capability of setting up long-distance range here at the house, and we can do some things with some microphones that I've got the capability of doing. So yeah, we might try a little something just to see what happens, just so we get an indication.
And it looks like Adam missed right under him, just like you.
Yeah. So I tell you what, let's go ahead and we'll wrap up the podcast portion of the show. We'll hang out here on the live stream for a few minutes and chat a little bit. But next week, Dan.
Next week, we'll see if we can't get Ken on. Give us an update, what's going on, and what else has gone on during the week.
Okay, and I should be rolling back from camp Sunday afternoon. Like I said, don't know yet whether I'm going to be north or south. So either way, I plan on being in a tree stand, good Lord willing, and the creeks don't rise. So for those of y'all out there on the podcast, y'all take care. We'll be back again next week, and shoot straight and be safe.
And don't forget, you can catch us in syndication at 2 p.m. Eastern Time on goodtalkradio.com. This episode was brought to you by
PSE Archery,
Spot Shooters Archery,
Easy Cut,
Packer Max,
Hunter's Blend Coffee,
Scent-Lok,
Scent Blocker,
Lim Walker Game Calls,
Buck Baits,
Gut Check,
Stanislawski Release Aids,
Copper John,
Fourth Arrow Camera Arms,
Wind Sense Vapor Hunting Products,
and Rebel 6 Rubs.
Thanks for listening, and join us again here next week. Until then, remember, as we always like to say, if you're out on the water or in the woods, shoot straight and be safe. Until next week on the Up North Journal.